I knew that my reclamation back to society would be an uphill battle, but still I welcome the challenge. Cause just the thought of the looks on the faces of the non-believers as I succeeded sufficed enough to maintain my balance. In spite of all the backbiting and gossiping, he ungrateful. He act like we owe him something. He don't know how to talk to people. Remember failure is not an option? Well, this is the sequel. So let me clarify something. I give the utmost respect to those whose intentions are genuine, meaning I give respect where respect is due. But if you hiss when you talk and your tail rattles when you walk, then regardless of your job description, I don't respect you. My means of expression may be a little aggressive, even somewhat downright overly abrasive at times, but I do it face to face, not face to back, no ulterior motives. I let you know exactly what's on my mind. And that's what sickens you so called authority figures. You think as a convicted felon I'm supposed to bow down and conform? Like so many before me, but before me there was none like me. And the real reason that you don't like me is because I'm not your norm. However, I'm doing all that's required of me, except get a job. But it ain't my fault that won't nobody hire me. Employers steadily compliment my resume, yet readily say how the job in particular that I've applied for may require me to stand for long periods of time and do some heavy lifting, which in my condition my physical won't permit. But in the mental, I perceive otherwise. And that's where the trouble lies. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. See, my understanding of life is this: anything that my mind can logically conceive, my body can and will achieve. And this directly contradicts the doctor's diagnosis in regards to all that I would endure as a result of this disease. He first told me that I'd never walk again. But I found the strength within myself to defy those odds. So the hand that I was dealt in regards to that particular situation, I put back in the deck and commenced to reshuffling the cards. He also told me how my memory would eventually fade. So I then focused on my ability to retain information and found it amazing how I best recall, remember, and obtain the likeness of such during the most conflictual situations. So don't take my demeanor as me being ungrateful, because I appreciate everything that's being done for me. But I don't need it always thrown up in my face, because that only takes me to a place that makes me attempt to trace all that was done to me. The childhood molestation, 22 plus straight years of incarceration, the obvious prejudice and discrimination against people of color, which has always been the case in this racist nation. I'm trying my hardest to put all of this behind me and go on living to become a productive citizen within this sick and twisted society. Because the variety of ignorance that used to reside in me, I embraced wholeheartedly and smothered until it died in me. And what came alive in me was the side of me that I had been suppressing for nearly most of my life. So I celebrate and toast my life daily because it feels good to be back in control of my life. MS has indeed taken a toll on my life, but not to the extent that I'm ready to succumb to it, because I've come to understand that any obstacle or challenge consuming too much time going around or going over, all feelings aside, I gotta go through it. Which is why I'm so unapologetic for my behavior. Because an apology doesn't take back the hurt. And considering all that I've learned in these last 3 years, here's a word of advice to the so-called bridges that I've supposedly burnt. Try building with a new material. Instead of telling me what needs and has to be done, show me how to do it. Walk me through it. This way I understand the importance of my thoughts and actions being congruent. Because once you ruin the trust, there's not much that we can discuss. The converse isn't the same. Because instead of assisting me, you ended up twisting me as if to you, me being the client, meant that my life was a game. And although this may not be the case, you were placed in a position without the proper training. And once brought to your attention, you chose not to listen and instead took my admonition as if I was complaining. In all reality, though, I was just striving to establish a steadfast means of communication where the lines were unblurred and you remain undeterred concerning all that you heard in regards to my particular situation. This is my life.